All right. Hi, I'm meteorologist Justin Lyles. Let me adjust this camera here. As you can see, we have severe storms rolling through the Northland, pretty strong and intense for that matter. Once I can get this camera adjusted just properly, so bear with me. There we go. Dan Romano behind me. He's looking at some stuff too. I'll move out of the way. There he is.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So we are Facebook stream living. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask what's going on behind us. You can see that we've been dealing with some watches and some warnings for quite some time, and some of what we're seeing is rather interesting. Now you'll notice there's a severe thunderstorm watch. Now this is all of pretty much everything you see highlighted in pink. So we're actually looking at quite a bit of interesting activity rolling through the Northland. Now as far as the severe thunderstorms go, you can see that we're looking at pretty much some decent activity going on from southern St. Louis County, Carlton County, which happens to be in this area right here, where I have this dot actually is where we're watching that. So we're actually looking at some decent activity rolling through a good portion of the Northland. So there's where the severe thunderstorm watch is. Now if we go to the radar itself, notice we have a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45 p.m. Aiken, Carlton, Pine County, St. Louis County, which includes many areas like Moose Lake, Perch Lake, Windermere. Now all of this is sliding eastward at about 35 miles per hour. So if we go ahead and draw a line right along this leading edge right here and move it eastward about 30 miles per hour, you can see some of the impact points that it's going to impact here, which include Del Grove and the Twin Lakes area. So moving through Carlton County, Moose Lake of course also included in that as well. If I can move this out of the way, probably get a few more of that, a little more of some of those storms popping up here into this. But let's zoom up, go a little bit further to the north, and we have some storms up there as well. Some larger storms that have produced some hail and frequent lightning and some heavy rain, especially near the Hibbing area along Highway 169, Grand Rapids to Deer River, and then also just east of that line we're looking at some decent stuff, as you can see right here with this cell just east of Virginia on Highway 135 west of the Hoyt Lakes region. We're seeing some of that activity going on. Now we zoom back out and you can kind of see the back edge of this toward Cohasset. We're watching that very closely, as well as to the west toward the Deer River areas. And then of course this is all firing up really along a cold front. And this cold front is tapping into quite a bit of moisture. You may have noticed today it was quite hot, quite humid, and very similar to the blowdown area that we had July 21st nearly a year ago. So some of these areas that we're watching very closely do include areas that did get impacted with some of that activity last year. So keep that in mind. We're also, if you're out, and I hope you're not out, but if you have any pictures that you're willing to share with us, please let us know. We sure would like to see some of that activity or some of those photos being sent in. But we're certainly going to be looking at some decent conditions for some thunderstorm development here in the next few hours. Now again, these are the storms we're watching right through here, as you can see me clicking with this arrow right now, and some of those larger cells have produced some tornadoes in the past. Now just notice southern Crow Wing County, Daggett Brook, Fort Whippley, St. Mathis, there's a severe thunderstorm warning. But if I move this map up, this cell right here near Alexandria is one we've been watching very closely. There's one to the east of that as well. Tornado warning for Morrison County with plenty of spin with this cell just to the east of Little Falls, Buckman, Lake and Lay, Mount Morris. Again, all of this pretty much sliding to the east. If you draw a line at about 30-35 miles per hour is where we're seeing a lot of this activity. And again, Morrill, Page, Halen, Mora included in that at 7:45. So we'll be watching this as it molds into parts of eastern Kennebec County, and then also as we look into portions of Pine County and Carlton County. So again, a whole lot of activity going on. Again, if you want to interact with us and ask us a question, feel free to do so. Notice some of the hail over the next 30 minutes. You can see that we've been dealing with some hail just to the west of Moose Lake, anything near an inch from really Highway 65 and Highway 18. In fact, we zoom in on these areas a little bit more, and these are where the hail cores are going to be within the next 30 minutes. And notice it's just to the west on Moose Lake, and the road that would be again, that's Split Rock. I'm trying to do the road here, and it's obviously not letting me, but that's all right. But that's one area. Highway 27 is what it looks like. White pine also included in that. Now, this is what's really interesting, is this has a history of producing quite a bit of damage already, and you can see if we click on the one near where Grand Rapids is, you can see that 12 to 16 inch box elder tree snapped about 8 to 10 feet off the ground. Winds came after the storm had passed, so certainly some strong reports there. This is near Reamer. We're also looking at one of the more significant areas that got impacted with this would be just to the west of Wadena. This, where you see this tree, which is located roughly right there in the hail, but this area right here, that one was really interesting because that report was a semi-truck that totally got flipped over because the winds were so strong. So looking at quite a bit of damage in that area. I don't know if you've gotten any other reports coming in, Dan, associated with this. We went black there for a second.
Nothing quite yet. We're just seeing the latest reports coming within. We got our viewers send in some pictures from Alexandria of some darker clouds, but nothing quite yet.
So certainly getting darker clouds coming in and some of those storms. Again, we want to go through what we're looking at right now. There they are. Severe thunderstorm watch is what we're watching. Goes until 11 p.m. for everything highlighted in pink. What do you got there?
3/4 inch hail reported in Keewatin. That's about 10 minutes ago. That was reported by amateur radio.
Okay, 3/4. If you didn't hear that, 3/4 inch hail reported in Keewatin with this. So again, severe. Oh, go ahead.
And then also this, you may have talked about this earlier, but this was some trees down across some Highway 64.
Where's that located?
Is in Cass County near Leader.
Near Leader. Okay, so that'd be in this general area.
And that was due to some, it appears, straight line wind damage. No report on the gusts there. Okay.
One of the warnings we have right now is a pretty big one. You could see Aiken, Carlton, Pine, and St. Louis until 7:45. What are we looking at here? Let me get rid of this. So
we also have half-inch hail reported near Fort Ripley in Crow Wing County.
Okay. And a good portion of what we're actually watching too is this leading edge right here, where you see these sharp reflectivity areas. This is where the wind is going to be the strongest. So you can see where this blue arrow is pointing right through here, northwestern Pine County. We're also going to see some enter just west of Moose Lake right now. In fact, if we zoom in a little bit closer on that area, you can see that it's just south of Eagle, right in this general vicinity right through here. Going to see some strong winds. And then again, we zoom, go a little bit further south of that line, and right here, you know, Birch Creek, Bremen already seeing a little bit of that. Kettle River, eventually Finlayson going to see a little bit of that activity. But this whole thing beginning to fill in a little bit more and become a little more intense as it gets closer. Now, one thing you're noticing too is that we have some storms beginning to back build a little bit. What I mean by that is we're seeing a lot of these ones out front here that have been pretty strong, and then these ones rolling through the range as well along Highway 169. But notice that one just to the northwest of that line, seeing some of that activity. So we're certainly looking at some severe storms here across the Northland, and we'll continue to watch some of these, see if we can pull up some of these questions that we may have right now. I do see we have a few comments coming in. Be safe. You know, rain and thunder now in Hoyt Lakes from Andrea Carr. So thank you so much for sending that in, and that was certainly a good update. Just hitting the Floodwood area. Quinn Quill is letting us know what's going on in that region. Again, through Floodwood over in, right there it is, Floodwood. So just rolling through Floodwood right now. Again, a lot of this activity not too far away from Interstate 35, as you can see. In fact, If we look at how far away some of these are, the distance tool showing us that it's about, let me get that on there, must not be far enough in. All right. Trials and tribulations of trying to figure out some of what's going on. So, power outage. All right, we got power outages now. Dana Druce, we got a power outage in Marble at 6:06. High winds, lots of rain, and trees are bending. So we got a lot of activity going on there. Thank you so much for letting us know. We also have, what do we got here? Hibbing. Cindy Jamnik is reporting thunder has stopped. Just a good rain coming down right now. Thunder, lightning, and rain in Hibbing. Downpour in Grand Rapids. Linda Atkinson. So far, trying to see if we have any damage being reported other than the power outage that we just received not too long ago. So again, that power outage was in Marble at 6:06. Nothing happening in International Falls, just hot and muggy from Beth Johnson. Chris Parker asking, Justin, any idea when it's going to hit Superior? Yes. We are looking at about it's 6:54 right now, the way I'm looking at it. Again, there might be a little bit of delay in this FaceTime thing. So I would say it would, I'm guessing, moving east at about 30 miles per hour. It should be there within the next hour for sure. We're already starting to see the western edge of it getting closer to Duluth. It's already went through Floodwood area, and Floodwood's only about 35 miles west of the Duluth area. So a lot of people are asking or waiting to see what the storm brings. Tina Myers, thank you. Well, yeah, you know what? We're waiting to see what it does too. Hopefully it doesn't do what it did a year ago, because we really don't need any of that activity once again, because we all know how that went. Danny is asking, one thing to remember too is that gets overlooked sometimes with these thunderstorms is please bring in the pets. Hot, humidity, and sometimes the pets get left outside, so let's not forget about those pets. They're part of the family as well. What do you got going on over there? Anything else?
You know what? We just received a couple pictures of some Nevada's clouds. Trying to figure out exactly where this is. In Barnum over at Big Hanging Horn Lake. So we're seeing some of that. As far as thunderstorm reports, nothing right now. Still watching these storms roll through, looking at the comments. What are the winds going to be like? You know what? With some of these storms, we're seeing gusts as high as 55, 60 miles per hour. And, you know, I think that it's pretty safe to say I don't see anything that would really change that.
No.
It looks like the storms are still fairly strong, and they're moving east. Sometimes they're moving a little bit slower than others.
Right, and again,
cluster was moving to the
if we lose you for a second, we might lose you just for a second, but you should still be able to hear our voice. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looked like the northern edge of those storms are moving to the northeast at about 15 miles per hour, so that could create some heavy downpours. But for the most part,
oh, we just got a new one issued.
Yep.
Here's the newest one. Again, we were watching this one for a while because, as we said, it was the leading storm. And again, this one rolling through the Hoyt Lakes area, which did we just got a report from Vienna King, who's in Hoyt Lakes, and says it's very still air, kind of creepy. But again, you're going to be looking at some fairly decent hail in this for sure. So if we actually look at some of our hail parameters that we have in this area, let's go ahead and let me bring that back up. Here's our hail area, and you're going to notice that we're going to go just north of that line. Here it is right here. Hoyt Lakes, the white area. You're looking at anywhere from an inch to even 2 inches of hail. So this is something that we're watching close, especially through this area right here. And we can even zoom in even closer. And this is within the next 30 minutes. Again, as Dan mentioned, you said this was moving east at about 15 miles per hour?
Let's see. Hold on. This one is... I'm still working.
Okay. We're going to zoom in on this one a little bit more in detail here, just so we can check it out. Here we go. So you can see it's near Biwabic, near Hoyt Lakes. You can see some of the roads associated with it as we zoom in a little bit more.
It's moving
Highway 100, County Road 4, Vermilion Trail associated with this.
Yeah,
again,
moving to the east at 20 miles per hour.
Moving to the east at 20 miles per hour with this one. So
yeah,
if we actually...
ping pong ball sized hail, excuse me, and has the potential to create 60 mile per hour wind gusts as well.
Well, according to this, not a whole lot of residency up there. Skippo, 737. We'll see some of this. If you follow this hail core that we're looking at right now, moving east, again at 20 miles per hour. What are the winds going to be like? Alyssa Call, thank you. We're looking at, we've had reports over 70 miles per hour. As I mentioned before, this system has actually created a situation just west of Wadena where it flipped over a tractor trailer. So we were looking at some bad weather there as well. We go back to that radar imagery because we certainly want to look at the whole perspective of what we got going on here. And you can see how large of a line these thunderstorms are. Again, we have even tornado warnings being issued out toward Morrison County, southeast. Also, Alexandria. This has been a long-lasting storm that we've been watching out toward Alexandria. Let me look at that one a little more in detail. Again, that's really not our area, but you can see that it is moving into some pretty violent air that we have. Now, we're bringing this up because, again, moving through Carleton counties where we're seeing some of this activity just to the southeast here. And again, we talked about how it would eventually move into the Eagle Kettle River areas just west of Moose Lake. 50, 60 mile per hour winds. But this thing hasn't even moved into Wisconsin yet. So once it does that, we're still going to be looking at some strong storms. So we're in for the long haul here for quite some time here around the Northland. Sun shining in Ashland, yeah, it is now, but it won't be by the time we get toward 10 p.m. Thanks for letting us know about that. I appreciate that. Heavy rains in the rapids. Thank you, Homer, for letting us know about that. And how long should it last? Well, it's moving through at a snail's pace, as Dan mentioned earlier, only 15 to 20 miles per hour. It's not moving at the quickest. As you can see, we zoom out, and it's kind of wrapping around. And what has me worried a little bit too by the trajectory of what I mean by it wrapping around here a little bit. So if you look from northern St. Louis County and you see it wrapping around all the way back, this right here is that tornado warning in Alexandria. But what has me worried a little bit is this thing, because it has a west-east orientation, it may stall. And what that means is if it stalls in the east-central Minnesota or west-central Wisconsin during the overnight hours, not only are we looking at some damaging wind, but we very well could be looking at some flash flooding as well. So, Chris Paulson, very dark in Island Lake. It's getting there. It is certainly getting there. If I go ahead and bring up some of the, I gotta load this up here a little bit. Let's go ahead and shut this down. I don't want to shut it all the way down. Hold on. Dan is currently working on getting us some images as well as...
Yeah, I can't work on that. Do this in a safe manner, by the way. Please send in your pictures to WDIO.com, or I should say weather at WDIO.com, or you could also try to send in the pictures via Facebook through messaging. Don't send comments because it's a bit of a mess trying to send those images back out. But again, we have a couple of some mammatus clouds that are a little white out right now just because we're dealing with, it's pretty gray skies. And then also... well, right now we're still getting some reports in.
Someone asked if it's going to hit Two Harbors. It's still a good possibility it may hit Two Harbors. The good news for you guys in Two Harbors and along areas of the North Shore that went a little bit from Two Harbors up toward Grand Marais is that you were dealing with a lake wind today, and that actually brought in some cooler air. And because of that, it may help divert it a little bit further north and further south. But we'll keep an eye on it for you for sure. Keewatin just had pea-sized hail. Michelle Metzer sent this in. And then we're also looking at Friedenberg, asking if it's going to hit there. Probably. More than likely it will. I mean, if we've been looking at this for a while. And again, we have until 11 o'clock tonight. This thing is going to be very active. Notice already a severe thunderstorm with this one right here. And you can see just how intense it really is. I haven't seen any rotation coming out of this, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna look right now. Maybe a little bit of spin going on with this, but again, that's me being a weather nerd. You don't really need to know what I'm looking at right there. But anyway, Aurora, Bowabic, Hoyt Lakes, and White. Again, we've talked about this a lot. Some of the hail associated with that. I wonder if I can see how high some of the cloud tops are in this region. Now, when I look at this here a little bit more in detail, one thing that I do want to point out with this is that we are, let me zoom in a little bit more. Here we go. Notice the purple color that we're seeing, okay? Right through this general area, right through there, just to the west of white. That is an intense part of the storm, and that could very well be producing some ping pong size type of hail moving east. The other thing to keep in mind with this is look how high the cloud tops are. We're looking at about 60,000 feet. Typically this year we've been dealing with 30 to 40,000 and on occasion 50,000, but nothing like this. So again, large hail and damaging wind. Now notice the one on the back side of it, just west of Virginia, also starting to intensify a little bit more, as you notice the cloud top starting to grow a little bit more intensity with that one. That one's just to the east of Hibbing. So there's a lot of activity going on around the region. Oh, and it says we have hail in Hibbing already. Jennifer Johnson sent this in, so thank you. Already dealing with some large hail in Hibbing. Let's get rid of this and go back to the actual view that we're seeing. Here we go. Let's go to there. And we'll zoom up a little bit. Sorry about that. Here we go. Again, but that one near Hoyt Lakes is the one that's got our concern right now. We're also, again, with this one down toward Moose Lake, Interstate 30. If you know anybody that might be on Interstate 35, they may be running into some very gusty winds right now. Anywhere just north of Moose Lake, southward toward, I would say, let's zoom in, we could probably get where that's at, Kettle River, Finlayson area. Moose Lake starting to see probably some of that heavier wind even as we speak right now, based on this leading edge that we're dealing with thunderstorm activity. So no rain in Sturgeon Lake right yet is what I just got hit with, saying so far good here in the Deer River areas. Kids at Camp Miller in Sturgeon Lake, let them know, yes, there is some heavy wind heading their way. Thank you so much, Corey S. Beck, for sending us that in. Kids at Camp Miller, there will be some heavier storms rolling your way. Within, well, I can figure that out here quick. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Sturgeon Lake. I need to get rid of that. There's Barnum right there. So getting very close already near Sturgeon Lake. So yes, they might got 10-15 minutes, as it looks like they might have hit a little pocket of cooler air, but certainly going to be running into some, I'm sure they got all the counselors, got all the kids indoors, and they're ready and safe. So they're part of that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 7:45 for Carlton, Aiken, Pine, and St. Louis counties. Again, we're actually starting to see some of this beginning to fill in a little bit just northeast of Floodwood. What I mean by that would be, let's go ahead and get this over here. Take that off. Right there is what I want. All right. So if you notice, just south of Hibbing, from Hibbing to Floodwood, we're seeing a little bit of that activity rolling in, starting to fill in a little bit more right in this general vicinity. So Toivola again, Meadowlands. Don't need to see the Meadowlands get hit hard again. They had a lot of blowdown last year. Again, this is all coming off about a year or so after what just happened. Rain and thunder in Sturgeon Lake.
I get a video
heavy rain south of Cromwell. Say that again?
I get a video without sound that was sent in from Danny Druce. She says that at 6:05 they were dealing with fairly nasty conditions in Marble, Minnesota, right before the rain hit really hard, along with the high winds, lightning, and thunder like a freight train. Only a short power outage from that storm. So again, that was in Marble. Don't quite have the video for it with that because it doesn't have sound. But yeah, it looks like.
And that was from who?
That was from Danny Druce.
Danny Druce.
So thank you very much for that message that we received. Cara Tower sent a picture. I'm going to send it over to you. It's just dark skies over Proctor Little League as the kids are getting ready to finish up practice. I'd like to get them off the field soon with those storms moving in.
Chisholm pouring now and has some hail. Becky Quisisto, I hope I said that right, reporting that. So again, it's mainly with those two thunderstorm complexes that we have up north, and again with that one near Hoyt Lakes, White, Waback, and Aurora, and then we're also looking at the severe thunderstorm warning that we have. Why are you laughing?
Somebody's asking about putting somebody to bed before the booms begin. I don't know, Justin. I think you would be more apt to take care of that question.
Where are they from?
One Sandy Lyle said, "Should I put your daughter to bed now before the booms begin?" But it did cool down really quickly.
Yeah.
Smithville and Morgan Park. Thank you very much, Amber Rich, for telling us that.
Yep. Leave it to my wife to, during a serious situation, to throw something in like that.
Well, she wants to make sure.
No, I know. You know what? Put the kid to bed. They'll be fine. Yes, you should have her sleeping before the booms come through. If that's God, that's a way of looking at it, I guess. Hail in Aurora. We're looking at hail in Hoyt Lakes as well. So some of these comments are pretty funny. Where'd that one just go? Something about the end of the world.
There's always somebody.
Yeah, I can't help it.
All right, let's see. Max import this.
All right, there's that leading edge. We're trying to work on some images so we can get to you guys here in a little bit.
They're coming in a little slow.
They are coming in a little slow. We do have that video that maybe we can try to get somehow. What we might have to do, though, we'll still be live, but you'll be frozen on a shot for a little bit as we load that information. Just be aware of that. And again, it's just this main wedge that we're seeing now rolling through Moose Lake. Do we have any comments coming in from Moose Lake? I'm curious to see what's going on down there. Still looking. There's a lot of comments, so trying to get through them all. Quite a few of them coming in. I thank you guys for helping us out here a little bit. Tell this story a little. Rain started in Moose Lake, Judy Isaacson. So thank you for letting us know. Dark in Barnum. No rain yet. Barnum, no, it's coming. Just give yourself some time. You're not far away. Again, I can zoom in a little bit further in detail. There's Barnum. It's probably in Barnum now. Just as, I can't really see when these were actually posted. My wife just posted, still listening. Great. It's alright, I'm going to be working late tonight. Anything in Silver Bay? Silver Bay, like I said, two harbors up towards Silver Bay. You're right on the cusp. I do think you'll see something once we get toward the 10 p.m. time frame. This thing, I need to... once we get close to that 10 p.m. time frame, because it's going to take a while to overcome some of that drier air that you had originally set during the day. Again, two harbors, from two harbors up toward Grand Marais, pretty dry air with that southerly wind, a little cooler today. Still looking at this severe thunderstorm that we have for central St. Louis County. That goes until 7:30 p.m. All right. Again, we're still looking. You want to give Bjorn a call and see if we have. Bjorn is our producer, and he's monitoring power outages right now. So currently waiting to see. Moose Lake, rain and blowing lightning. Nancy Grimm just talked to Dad in Sturgeon Lake. Wind at least 50 miles per hour. So again, all of that activity down to the south is pretty severe.
Taking care of a couple things right now. Just shoot me just call me back. All right, thanks.
Again, all of this is really forming along a cold front that extends through this general vicinity, as you can see, right along areas of the cold front. And as I mentioned, I don't know if you guys watched at 5, 6, and 10. The similarities between this and the blowdown last year were very... 5, 6, and 10. I haven't even done the 10 yet. Anyway, at 5 and 6, the similarities between this and the blowdown last year were quite eerie, to say the least. Dew points in the 70s all day. We also had heat indices, as I was mentioning, in the 90s at one point. So certainly some extreme heat as well. We also had the temperature-wise, we were sitting in the 80s the majority of the day. Now, as this front goes through, it is going to cool things down a little bit. So that's the good news. Maybe I can pull up the Hib airport cam and see what's going on there. Let me put that into the show here. Again, as I mentioned, as I start to add more elements, it may stall out here a little bit on some of these scenes. So looking at the Hib cam right now, let's if it's coming in, you can see just how dark the sky is. Looking, I would believe this would be to the southwest.
Oh, we got a tornado warning.
We have a tornado warning. All right, let's go ahead and look at that. I'm going to bring that up here quick. And come on, there it is. Again, we've been watching this storm for quite some time.
Okay,
there it is.
7-Eleven, a severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado, was located near Aurora or 30 miles south of Lake Vermilion. Again, very slow moving, only moving to the east at 15 miles per hour. It's a radar indicated rotation with this thunderstorm, so no confirmed tornado as of yet. There is a possibility this storm could also contain golf ball size hail. This tornadic thunderstorm will remain mainly over rural areas of east central St. Louis County, including Esquamaga Lake. I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. Again, it's moving fairly slow at 15 miles per hour. Keep an eye on this storm as it slides to the east.
All right, Dan. We are live through Facebook right now, but I need to go on air and let people know about this as well. So why don't you take over here for a second?
Okay.
You do have mics on just in case I need to toss it over to you.
Yeah.
As you can see here, right here, tornado warning went off. My tornado went off on my phone. Oh, I pushed something. Uh-oh.
Are we still live?
We're still live. There we go. Let's go back. Come on.
Justin, can I get a mic check?
There we go.
Are we live now?
Yes. There we go. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Just give me both of you or just you?
Just me.
Okay, so let's see. Are we having this? I can't.
I'm using Max 2.
Yeah, I can't tell if this is up or not, Justin.
What's that?
Okay, it looks like we're live. It just says.
I've just been reading comments on that.
No, I can't tell if.
Let's make it happen. There we go. Well, if you need to wheel back and forth between the two. You ready?
Yeah.
Are we going to start with you and then you're going to pitch to Dad?
I might pitch to him. So just, yeah.
I'll stay with you. You want Max 1 or 2?
Max 2 right now.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
I am going to clear this out for you and
Can you get some photos ready for...
If I can get anything up there, I was in the process of getting a couple photos together right now. Yeah, I'm going to put us... Let me get this Facebook Live back up and running again.
All right. Okay. Who's the prompter? Okay. Hey, Dan, can you... I might have you... I can do it. No, I can't do it. Never mind. I might have you operate over there. Go from the tornado down to the severe thunderstorm.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on.
Let's do the tornado first.
Hey. Okay, so we are good. We are on Facebook Live, or there's just no video? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. All right.
All right, we do have a tornado warning. I want to quickly update you on what we have going on just north of here. We've been watching and monitoring a severe thunderstorm rolling through Aurora and Guave for quite some time in White Lakes. We just had a tornado warning that has been issued south of White with this cell right here.
There you go.
Where you see this red and this green right by each other, just south of Point Lakes, is where we're seeing that spinning happening right now. Again, a very violent situation that could form. It's just Doppler radar indicated. But again, we notice all the spinning going on just south of White. Now, this all is sliding east. To mention, we've talked about the hail structure with this before, some golf ball size hail, ping pong size hail. But these storms, not just this one that we're watching closely, but also the one getting ready to roll through Virginia, and then the ones down to our south as well. All of these have had a history of some 50 to 70 mile per hour winds, and you can see the long line that is beginning to form. This is a squall line beginning to form. Really, Carleton County wrapping all the way back toward western Minnesota. Now, as this slides eastward, as I mentioned, it is going to run into some more primed air. It looks like we just had another warning issued for eastern Carleton County and also northeastern Pine County and western portions of Douglas County. That goes until 8 p.m. this evening, so not quite getting toward the Douglas County areas quite yet, but it will do so. We're going to keep you posted on all these. Again, the tornado warning that we have up to the north is just Doppler radar indicated. A lot of these are beginning to fill in. And one of my biggest concerns as we head to the evening hours is that a lot of this may actually stall out a little bit. What I mean by that is some of these heavier rainfalls may just sit there for a while. We said they're only moving at about 15 miles per hour, and once it stalls out, if we zoom out a little bit more, you're going to notice that we have this west to east orientation of the overall boundary layer, as you can kind of see right through here, or the overall front rolling through the region, and it may stall out. So we'll keep you posted as it continues to slide to the east. Again, at 30 miles per hour, already rolling across Interstate 35, people out the south. This is a tremendously dangerous situation for many areas, especially for those strong winds down south near Moose Lake, Interstate 35 moving east. And of course, this tornado moving to the east at about 18 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour, beg your pardon. And again, likely going to be near Fairbanks and Bassett by the time the 8 o'clock to 8:13 time frame roll around. We'll keep you posted if anything else should come in.
We're still live with Facebook, FYI.
What's that?
We're still live with Facebook.
All right, we're back on Facebook Live. Sorry, I
think
should have
we are-
mentioned something when we were on air live that we were doing this.
I'm not exactly.
I gotta take off my jacket. I'm sweating.
Yeah. The good people of the Northland appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this over.
Pizza should be here pretty soon.
All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Always
We'll
good
try to
news.
get some food in when we can.
I'll bring it in here when it does get here, so you guys understand.
All right. So we are live Facebook. 239 comments. That's pretty good.
Let's see.
I think that's what that means.
Common Hibbing. Let's see. Sirens are off in Hoyt right now. Are we okay? Sirens are off
In Hoyt?
Yeah. I'm not really sure what that means. Does that mean that
Maybe a Hoyt Lakes? I bet that's what the sirens are going off in Hoyt Lakes, which wouldn't surprise me, because that's where we're watching that tornado warning. So maybe that's what they're talking. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, Hoyt Lakes, yes.
You want again, Doppler radar indicated spin in the atmosphere, tornado could form. I wonder if can you bring up go to this right here, and then click here. Oh, where are we at?
Current hazards.
Yeah, and then
I got you.
and see what they're bringing in there. All right. Let me go back. You said we were on we were doing Facebook?
Yeah, we are doing Facebook Live right now. I have it up.
All right. Are you seeing any more questions?
Thunder and Cotton, let's make it rain. Our sirens went off about 5 minutes ago. I'm assuming that's over.
In Cotton?
Flying debris in Aurora. That's unconfirmed.
Flying debris in Aurora, unconfirmed. Who?
It was too fast. I can only see.
I'm sure. Well, if it's Aurora, then it probably has to do with some straight line winds. So again, those two cells up north that we've been talking about a lot, Virginia and the Hoyt Lakes area, up by Colvin, Cotton. We're starting to see a lot of those storms build in there as well. Not quite here to Duluth yet. I'd be curious to see that time lapse I set up. We might have to get that in here. Let me go ahead and see.
You should have access to it.
You know what? I have another camera that I want to bring up here. As you noted, I have another camera down toward Sandstone and Hinckley that I'm sure might be capturing something here. Let me see if I can find that. Again, if we go quiet here for a second, again, we're just showing you that long line of thunderstorms while I load some of this imagery in there.
So it looks like quarter-inch hail is being reported in Aurora with this thunderstorm, or was as of about 25 minutes ago, and 1-inch size hail in Bilobic.
Judy Rafferty said, "I hear the siren." Where are you, Judy? If you could, that would be great if you could let us know. I'm assuming you're up north toward Hoyt Lakes area. Pouring rain in Finlayson. Thanks. All right, good. When will it hit Duluth? It's coming. You can see on the radar. It's just not. It's not that far away. I'm gonna try to load this camera shot that I had set up from earlier. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is the last 3 hours looking west, and you can see just how dark it was starting to become looking towards Spirit Mountain. So it's only a matter of time before it gets here. The clouds starting to look a little ominous in that general direction. I want to go back to the hail track here too and look at that. Sandstone seeing some larger hail. And again, up north, we talked about that Virginia area seeing some of that larger hail near Hoyt Lakes and the White. These are where the hail cores are expected within the next 30 minutes. As large as ping pong size hail being reported. Still waiting to hear like some of the, we haven't gotten any, usually it takes a while after the storm goes through before we start hearing storm damage reports. But I have Dan's on that, looking at that right now. You are live, folks. Okay. Yep. I'm just trying to figure out what someone listening from Vancouver, Washington. Hope you have nice weather out there in Vancouver, Washington. Our sirens went off about 5 minutes. If your sirens are going off, if you could please let us know where they're going off at. That would be very helpful. It was Hoyt Lakes where we were hearing some of the sirens. Will Grand Rapids see any more? You know, the big question, one of the things that we're watching with this is that a lot of it is back building a little bit. Notice, I'm going to zoom back up to the top here because we're going to talk about this tornado warning again. And it was, as I mentioned, Doppler radar indicated spinning that we were seeing with this thing. And you know, when we looked at the scope, you could kind of see where that is, where you see these greens and these reds right next to each other is where you can see some of that spinning going on in the atmosphere. So that's the area that we're watching with that. And again, a lot of this was sliding east at about 20 miles per hour. And you can see some of the impact points with this. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. That was my bad. I hit the wrong button. It happens sometimes. Alright, there we go. So again, we go back to that time frame, and you can see some of the areas that will be impacted by that storm. But we also, I'm going to go a little bit further west toward Virginia with that cell there. That just got issued. And that goes until 8 p.m. So Eveleth, Gilbert, Mountain Iron, Virginia. A lot of this until 8 p.m. That we're going to see with this. Again, I want to kind of get a cross-section of how high some of these storms really are. This is more for my benefit, so sorry if I get a little nerdy on you a little bit, but it allows me to see how high some of these tops are, 60,000 feet. So we certainly have the potential for some decent hail in that region. What do we got there? Is that the... Okay. So again, we're starting to look at some decent size hail just north of Virginia. Crazy winds in Moose Lake from Thomas Simi. So again, we talked about that earlier, how we were seeing some of those crazy winds heading toward that region. Again, of course, keep yourself as safe as possible. Dan's working on getting us some photos. After the storm passes, if you have any damage, please send us anything that you may have, weather@wdio.com, so we can let people know some of the people downwind from this storm, I should say. So need to keep an eye on that. Going to look at the Hibbing range cam one more time and see what we got going on there. Now you can see the camera shaking. This is I kind of like this. You can see how windy it really is. The airport camera shaking up on top, looking at where the storms are there. You can see in the background lower visibilities, heavier rain. I'm not seeing any hail or anything hitting the ground near Hibbing, but certainly with that camera shaking, no, we have some stronger wind gusts going on there. Plus you can see the flag there in the foreground blowing. There was some lightning that we just saw there. So again, I believe that's looking south and west. Flying, yeah, it says White Lakes. Not loud. Who's not I got a report saying not loud enough. Is it me or is it Dan? I'm right by the mic, so Dan might be a little quiet. If you could let us know, then I can let him know that he needs to talk loud, because we all know how loud Dan can really get. Can you see these? I can't hear this. Oh, that must have been when we were down for a little bit. I'm wondering if that's what it was. Well, we're back. I gotta look. I wanted to bring up a camera down toward Hinckley. Now again, where is that? There it is. I'm wondering what this camera is gonna look like right now. When was this take? 7:20. So maybe it is not working since it went through that region.
Newsroom. Or weather.
All right.
Okay. Okay. All right, thanks. Bye. Weather.
Do we know if we have any power outages yet? Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay. Bye. Everybody's a critic.
Angry email from somebody?
No, that already happened. All right. So let's kind of want to keep an eye. Another storm.
It's not Grey's Anatomy night, is it? Did I interrupt during Grey's Anatomy?
No, we're having a hard time with the audio from time to time. I'll tell you what. Let's keep this Facebook Live going through the end of the tornado warning.
Okay.
Which will be. Let's clear this out. 7:45. So
Another 10 minutes?
another 10 minutes, and then we'll kick up another Facebook Live shortly after that.
All right. I don't know if you guys heard that. What we're going to do is kind of take some time to regroup here. We'll stay on here till this tornado warning has expired. And then once that expires, we'll take a little time to regroup, and then we will kick off another window shortly thereafter that. So if anything should pop up, we can let you know what's going on. I want to see how intense some of these storms are in this area.
I threw in a couple pictures for you.
3 to 4 inches. Yeah, we want to see some pictures and stuff that we...
They're fairly vague, but it just gives you an idea of what some of the people are looking at as the storms approach. One has some... you'll see them in viewer photos 3 and 4, Justin.
Okay. Let me go... Alright, let me load that. Again, you're going to look at this. This is the tornado warning that we have up north. Doppler radar indicated nothing confirmed on the ground. We were looking at some circulation with it. And that was just to the north of Colvin, just south of White, moving east at about 15 miles per hour, and was expected near Bassett, near around that 8 o'clock time frame.
Hey, can we pull up our tower cam? Are we able to do that right now? Only because we're getting some pretty good reports of thunder and lightning just within the...
I can bring up the time lapse. Let me...
I'll tell you what. Let me set this... I'll put this together for you, and then I'll show you a live shot of our tower cam.
Actually, I think I can bring that up. Let me...
Where's your...
Alright, category. So you guys are kind of seeing some of the behind the scenes that we actually have to do too while we're trying to relay the information to you. I hope we're not boring you too much.
Hey, that link that you have that sets up the links for the tower cam, the harbor cam, is that on your desktop?
Right here. Let me see if this is it.
That's going to be black. Okay.
There it is.
All right, great.
All right, this is a live look looking west right now with our tower cam of how dark it is. So we might be able to see, you can see some low-level clouds kind of hanging from it. Can't zoom in a little bit more, but out towards Spirit Mountain, if you could see that, you can see some clouds hanging from there. One thing that's typically what we like to call scud. Doesn't look like any circulation or anything with that, but certainly some heavy rain. Pretty dark and ominous out there, that's for sure. Looking south toward the St. Louis River Valley areas, and you can see, and I'll go back to this right here, and this was, again, let me go a little bit forward. When I started capturing this time lapse, this is really over the last 3 hours, but you can kind of see, looking in that general direction, how dark it was and how scary those clouds were coming through. So again, live look with what's going on. You can see that the rain, it is raining out towards Spirit Mountain. I can see it on the camera right now. I wouldn't be surprised, Proctor, Esco seeing a little more of that heavier rain as well. Let me go ahead and go back to that warning and see if it still exists, so that way we can regroup here. Tornado warning does still exist, but we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Carlton, Douglas, and Pine County. We're looking at Blackhoof, Dairyland, Holyoke, and Carrick. And again,
still no confirmed. This tornado warning has been updated. Last report, as of 4 minutes ago, the severe thunderstorm was located near the Whiteface Reservoir, or 35 miles south of Lake Vermilion. It's still moving to the east at 15 miles per hour. Still has the capability to produce half-dollar size hail, as well as a tornado, although a tornado has yet to be confirmed with this thunderstorm. And this thunderstorm, this tornado warning has been updated as of 4 minutes ago now. So we're talking as of 7:34, 7:35. Okay. Again, still moving to the east at 15 miles per hour. So we're talking about not many locations being impacted with this.
Debbie Shapiro, calm in Hibbing, calm before the storm. Are we done? Well, I wouldn't say you're quite done. You might be on the back side of it, but as I mentioned earlier, a lot of this is kind of back building a little bit, so it is quiet there now, for sure. But again, seeing some larger storms inching its way closer to Duluth. Still one of the areas of concern that I do have. It looks like another one just got issued. Severe thunderstorm warning for Pine County and Burnett County. You see just to the northwest of Grantsburg, right through this area right here, east of Pine City, where I see this blue arrow. Again, that is where we're seeing some stronger wind gusts. Reports of 50 to 60 miles per hour already associated with this. So keep that in mind. Wonder if that Hinckley Camp one is updated yet. I kind of want to see what's going on there. Heavy rain. That's about all we can see. HibCam.
1-inch hail reported in Bowabic.
1-inch hail reported in Bowabic.
Yeah, and that was about 45 minutes ago. Just popped up.
Let's go back to how it looks here in Duluth.
1/4-inch hail that was reported in Mountain
Ooh, does that look
Iron.
freaky? I know that looks scary, but to me that is super cool. Dangerous situation, but certainly heavy rain with that. I might have to go take a look outside. I wonder, look at some of the latest storm reports. I haven't seen if we got anything. Here we go.
Nothing. Just hail up on the range.
Up on the range. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So
hail up by Hoyt Lakes. So again, as we have to wait for a lot of the damage, assess a lot of the damage until it actually comes through that area. So I anticipate hearing a lot more from, say, Moose Lake, Sandstone area, and some of those places. But again, it's still got to go through Wisconsin, and the temperatures there are still pretty warm. And we'll be watching northwestern Wisconsin here over the next few hours. It's now, what, 7:41?
Yep.
That tornado warning.
Still alive and kicking?
Still alive and kicking, all right. So we'll see if that will expire here soon. I'm going to zoom in on this and see if it has any of that spin associated with it right now. Where are we at? Here we go. I want this. There's still a little bit of it, especially near Colvin, just to the north of there. So right in that general area is what we're watching. Just to be a little bigger. So right in here. Keeping an eye on that. It doesn't say that it has been allowed to continue or expire here, but within the next 3 minutes I fully anticipate that. So let's quickly, before that expires, I kind of want to show you some of the other warnings that we still have out there. Mainly, why isn't it not working now? Alright, oh well. So we still have a severe thunderstorm warning until 8 p.m. for St. Louis County, as you can see right there. We have the one for Bowabic, Gilbert, Virginia, St. Louis County until 8 p.m. Tornado warning still goes until 7:45. South along the squall line that's forming, we have that goes until 8 p.m. Carlton, Douglas, Pine County, and then we also have a little bit further to the south, Pine City, Pokegama, Rock Creek, and Sandstone. Dan just said, ooh, what do we got?
A pretty cool looking, just a fantastic shot of some shelf clouds coming in. Benjamin Gordon, I'm going to post these as soon as I can get them. Thank you very much for these pictures. Justin, there you go.
Ooh.
Some little eye candy for you.
Where was that?
This is, it looks like near Bowabic. Give me 1 second.
All right, shelf cloud that we're going to try to share with you guys a little bit.
Actually, you know what? They don't, Benjamin Gordon.
Benjamin Gordon sent us some photos.
Yes, please tell us where.
Where were you at?
Okay, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to email him.
The air just became very still in Gary, New Duluth. It looks like it. I mean, we just looked at the current conditions, or the harbor cam there not too long ago, or the tower cam, and it looks creepy. Not gonna lie. So watching that, we're watching that closely. You're probably going to see some of that heavier rain rolling through that area. In fact, we can actually zoom in and look. You know, we're just looking at the cloud cover right now for the city of Duluth, just outside of that line in Superior. But it is, we will see some of that. Again, notice the bowing feature. in eastern Douglas County. Right here. Some high winds anticipated. That is Highway 35. Zoom in a little more. Get rid of this. Kind of want to see exactly where that's at. There is Highway 35. So that would be toward Pattison Park. Going to see some of that. The brunt of it is not quite there yet. Alright, we still have that tornado warning. We do need to regroup here.
Yeah, let's tornado warning has expired at this time. Let's get some of these photos together.
Alright.
Recharge batteries and give us a couple minutes and we'll be right back at Facebook Live, I think.
Alright, yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Thanks for